Hey everybody, welcome back to my office. This week I'm going to revisit the shielding pouch that I put on my Wi-Fi router, if you remember that from last week's video. And the reason for this is mainly because it's a BT router, because I'm a BT customer. And although the pouch is screening the Wi-Fi quite effectively, it's such a hassle to switch it on and off when you need the Wi-Fi. I have to go into my web browser, find the router page, and then it's about 5 or 6 clicks both to turn it on and to turn it off, with several pages of entering your password and all this, and it's just a hassle. So I'm going to go back to my old Netgear router, which has a nice button on it just to turn the Wi-Fi on and off. So that's the main reason. So if there's anybody from BT who happens to be watching this, please start putting a switch on your routers to make it easy to turn the Wi-Fi on or off. It's so much less hassle. So let's just have a look and we'll see how we're getting on with this. I've noticed that with the pouch on the router, I do still get a Wi-Fi signal. Let's just get the acoustimeter out. So you can see this is the situation as we are at the moment. This is with no Wi-Fi on. And the noise you can hear is probably this Wi-Fi from the neighbouring flats. I think my neighbour downstairs, I think our router is roughly directly underneath me. So it's probably just from that. You can see the levels are not too bad. And just let me explain the acoustimeter a bit more for those who are not familiar with it. The two scales here, this one measures the average scale of the Wi-Fi emanations, the radio frequency microwave radiation. This one here measures the peak. And somebody commented on last week's video that I seem to be measuring the electromagnetic fields from the router, which it's not. Because this is measured in volts per meter, which is normally what you use for power frequency fields, they thought I was actually measuring that. It's not. The left-hand scale is measured in microwatts per square. Sorry, the right-hand scale is measured in microwatts per square meter, which is a more common figure for measuring RF radiation. But this scale measures the peak pulses, which happen about several times a second, can be about 100 times higher than the average signal. So they use these volts per meter as just an easier way to measure that. There's a complicated conversion process if you want to look at it, and I did put a link in the web page for the last videos. So anyway, let's go and switch the Wi-Fi on and we'll see what the router's doing. Okay, so here we are up on the top shelf by my router again. As you can see, I've still got the cover on it. I've propped the acoustimeter at the side here so you can see what the levels are doing. Now remember, this is with the Wi-Fi of the router is switched on, but the cover, the shielding pouch on it, is doing not a bad job of shielding the radiation from it. However, I'm now going to switch on the Wi-Fi on my phone, and you will see what the difference it makes here. And you see how much it jumps up there just when the phone is trying to connect. And you can, hopefully you can see that. I'm getting about 4 bars there. Okay, so I'm now streaming a video on the phone, and you can see, although it's streaming data, once it's connected, the levels of the signal are still not that bad. So as I say, if you haven't got any alternative to reducing the exposure from your router, this pouch is a great thing to have. However, I still prefer to have everything on Ethernet, and I say I only need the Wi-Fi on when we have guests or if I need to update my phone, for example. So I'm going to actually replace this with the old router, which I much prefer because it has a simple on and off button on it. And just as a reminder, here's the router without the shielding pouch on, and you can see the levels on the acoustimeter. The peak level is much higher. We're getting into the red zone there. Here we are with the new router installed. It's not the tidiest of installations, but hey, it works for me. So this is with the Wi-Fi off, and you can see the acoustimeter is registering green on the peak and barely registering on the average reading. Let me just turn the Wi-Fi on. This is this handy little switch around the back here. They just hold it. And there's the blue light. So you see the Wi-Fi is coming on. And there you can hear it now. And you can see that's quite a high signal because I'm right next to it. As I say, I only turn this on when I need it. And we'll turn it on again. And there we are. So I say the speeds with this Netgear router, they're maybe a little bit less than the BT one, because this is quite an old router now. But, you know, it works, it does what I need it to do, and I'm much happier with it than using the BT one. As I say, if you don't want to change your router, then getting the screening pouch is a good solution for you. But far better if you can just get rid of the Wi-Fi completely, or as much as you can. So in conclusion then, just to talk about the best way of reducing your Wi-Fi exposure, the easiest way is to use one of these blocking pouches like I've demonstrated in this video and the last one. These are an easy way to cover up your router, and it does cut down the Wi-Fi emanations by about 60 or 70% without actually destroying the Wi-Fi signal completely. You will still be able to get a signal, but it is reducing the levels of your exposure, which is always a good thing. To completely eliminate your Wi-Fi, you need to switch it off, and with the BT routers and most other routers, you need to do this in your browser by going into the control panel for the router. And with the BT one in particular, there's 5 or 6 steps you have to go through. You know, you have to enter your password, you have to select which channels you want to switch off, and all the rest of it. Which is why I prefer the solution of replacing the router with one that has a switch on it. Like the one I have, which is rather old now, but it's still working, is a Netgear model, and there's a nice little button on the back that you can turn on for Wi-Fi when you need it. Other than that, I have everything in the house connected with Ethernet cables. If you can't do this, like maybe your building is not suitable for this, or it's just going to be too expensive, you can still switch off the Wi-Fi on your router and connect your computers to it with Ethernet cable if possible. If that's not possible, you can buy things called power line adapters. There's a couple of makes of these. I know Netgear do some. TP-Link is a very common one, or Devolo are other manufacturers of these. And you would connect one of these to your router using an Ethernet cable, plug it into the wall, and then you take a second one and you plug that in a room where you want to get the internet. And what these basically do is send the internet signal round using your mains wiring in the house. So whenever you need the internet, you can connect either with an Ethernet cable, or you can buy ones that have a little Wi-Fi transmitter in them. So you have a plug that basically has this built-in Wi-Fi transmitter, so you can use it in the room where you want it. And then when you're finished, you can just switch it off. So that reduces your exposure. And that's my best recommendation for being safe with Wi-Fi. So I hope you found this little video useful, and thank you for watching.